All right, everyone, welcome to week 3. I know everything has been a little bit hectic with some of the things that's been going on, but I'm glad that you all could join me, and I hope everyone is staying safe and they are, settling into week 3. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Um, and if you all have any questions as I go through, you all can put your questions in the chat box. And we have your other instructors that are here joining me tonight. I should let you all know, if you don't have me, I am Sabrina Adelson. I'll be tonight's live lecture instructor, and we are joined by your other instructors, Brandy, Michelle, and Natika. So if you have a specific question for your specific instructor, you can always, message them privately in the chat box. If you just have a, general question that, everyone could benefit from, please feel free to write that in the chat box, not individually, but for the whole audience. But if you have something private, then you can select the little arrow and have it go specifically to a person. So we are going to start. I can tell you guys a little bit about myself. My background is in adult education, sociology. I spent some time in HRD and training. I did a little bit of time in psychology as well. So just want to give you guys an idea of a little bit about me. And then my class, they already know all my nerdy things that I like to do. So I won't bore you guys with all those details, and I will um, move us along. So I'm going to start with a quote today. And the quote is, "Success is being uncomfortable short term for a long term goal." So I want you all to kind of look at this quote that's up on the screen and kind of tell me, what does that make you think of in terms of your degree program? Why is success being uncomfortable short term for a long term goal? How does that apply to yourself? So if you can hear me okay. All right, stepping out of your comfort zone, Simone said. Sacrifice. I really like that. I haven't gotten that answer yet. Builds character. Learning something new. It's growth. You can move forward without getting out of your comfort zone. I really like the direction you all are taking with this one. It's a little bit different. You have to do things that you don't want to do for success. You all are hitting the nail right there on the head. Short-term struggle can lead to long-term success. That went up on me because you're willing to grow in an uncomfortable environment. I think that you all are going in the exact direction that I want you to go into. Success is being uncomfortable short term for a long term goal. As you go through your degree program, sometimes you might take courses that, that you didn't expect that you'd be taking, or you might have more assignments than you thought you were going to have, or, you're working and you're having to complete assignments, and you have, other things going on in your personal life. And that can be very difficult. As adults, when you tend to go to school, you have more responsibilities. And whenever that happens and you feel overwhelmed, or you're like, why am I doing this? You start wanting to pull your hair out and you're like, why am I doing all this? I want you to go back to your why, that you all did in week 1, and remember why it is that you are in your degree program. Why are you being uncomfortable for a short term time, but you do have a long term goal? So you want to always, anytime you get stuck in that rut where you're just feeling like you're not moving forward or you feel overwhelmed, always go back to your why. A lot of times that would help you get out of that. Sometimes we all need to learn how to motivate ourselves intrinsically, from the inside, and then look at the reward that will pay off in the end. Very good. You said it for me, the payoff. So make sure that, you kind of always keep that in mind. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through school, work, and kids? If you have all that on your plate, just know that you have a long-term goal, and sometimes it helps to write that goal. You can have it on your computer screen when you're doing your work, as a screensaver. You can have it on the mirror. You can have it on the back of your cell phone. Nowadays, it's like there's a lot of places that you can keep your why in handy, so that when you do get into those moments where you feel overwhelmed, you have a reminder of why it is that you're doing all of this. All right. So, our agenda for tonight is we're going to discuss what time management is. We're going to talk about different techniques as we go through. We'll talk about procrastination. We'll talk about life's distractions, and we'll talk about prioritizing. And finally, we'll discuss the week 3 project. All right. So let's start with what is time management. I know a lot of times somebody says, what is time management? You might want to say managing your time. Well, let's not use the word to define what it is, but time management is a range of skills and tools that basically help you complete a goal or a task. And, time management is not just important in your academic life, but it's important day to day. So you want to make sure in your personal life, work life, school life, that you are balancing your choices. So when you're thinking about balancing the choices that you make every day, you want to think about, how well you're going to do that, when you're going to do it, and what it is you're going to do. So sometimes it's not just about the quantity or the amount of things you get done, but it's the quality of things that you get done. Are you getting the right things done at the right time? So those are the things you have to kind of think of, because it's a moot point if you finish all of your assignments, but they're all late when, there were other things that you could have done beforehand. And those are the kind of things that you want to think about, how you're balancing your choices when you're saying you're managing your time. It's great to get everything done, but you want to make sure that you're getting things done when they're due or at the right time. Time management is discipline for self, cutting out the things that really don't mean anything. And that's true, Anthony. A lot of it does have to do with self discipline, and really, the reality of it is it's your space. So you want to make sure that you realize that you're managing yourself, hence managizing your time. Prioritize. All right. So, we're all in an age of technology, and there are different ways that we can kind of keep ourselves organized. I want to use this opportunity for you all to maybe share some time management tools, apps, or any programs that you might know of that are either industry specific or just things that help you keep track of your time as far as school, your personal life, and that sort of things. I see some people saying using their calendar, alarm clock. Give you guys a second to think about it. I like to do this because sometimes someone will give me like a really good idea, and then I can always share it with the next class, or you all can share with each other just something that might work for you. Note an alarm, notifications in their email, time blocking my calendar. Handheld calendar, notes. You know what? I'm still one of those people who still uses the sticky notes. I like write things down. See, I'm not the only one. That was Cody. He uses sticky notes around the house. I still do that as well. Sometimes that, it's one of those things where, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I used it until you ran out of sticky notes. I can understand that. A magnetic board. I really do love those too. I like we have a dry erase board that I use with my kiddos to always remind them when they have homework and practice and things like that. All right, you guys had some great ideas here. I'm going to go on and as we go through the course, I'm going to share a couple more apps with you, but these are some that I recently let me go back. It won't let me go back. there we go. That I've recently been introduced to is the Trello app. That one's like more of like a big, like a project management board. They're great. Like if you're one of those people who like dream boards, I kind of see it like that. Almost like mind mapping even. You can put things down, you can kind of map them. This one is a desktop app, and it's you can put the app on your phone. So if you guys want to check that one out. And then another one that a friend of mine told me about was Remember the Milk. It was like the funniest thing because it's great for people who like go out and you can't kind of like remember like to buy the milk at the store, but that's not all that it's for. It's a to-do list app, and it basically like you can organize all of your tasks. You can use these different little coded tabs to kind of like color coded tabs to remind you of certain things. So it's like a to-do list with like multiple functions. So if you're one of those people who really like list, you can always try that. It's called Remember the Milk. And I want to say it's on both Android and iPhone. All righty then. We're going to play a little game. It's called Time Management Tools. What am I? I got you all started thinking about some different time management tools. So I'm going to read you all some clues. And when I read the clue, I want you all to guess what time management tool I am. So that's why it's called What Am I? So you're going to keep track of your own points. We have 4 different ones, and it's going to be 100 points per question. Are you all ready? All right, we are ready. The first question is, or clues, I should say. What am I? Number 1. I can be found on an Android or an iPhone. I've been around for a long time. You can input upcoming dates. I have many different forms and features. It looks like everybody is saying calendar, calendar, calendar. Okay, I'll let you. I saw Google Drive, a smartphone, Siri. Someone said a calculator. Okay, spell check. Your mom. Okay, I'll give you guys a few more seconds. Hey, whatever works, I'm telling you. You can be found on Android or iPhone. You've been around for a long time. You can input upcoming dates, have many different forms and features. All right, so keep track of your answer. And then I am going to go back and we will read. I'll give you guys the answers after I go through all of them. All right, what am I? Number 2. I allow you to access your documents virtually anywhere. I can be used to keep your school assignments secure. I can be used to share documents. I can create private links and access. I see a lot of Google Drive, the one and only Google Drive. I saw Dropbox, Drive, Cloud. All right. I'm seeing a lot of you guys coming up with similar answers. I've seen a few different ones. I see LMS and PowerPoint. I'm not going to read that one. The internet. Okay. Docs, Drive, internet. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. What am I? Number 3. I've been around for a long time. I can be written on paper or created electronically. I make remembering things a lot easier, or I can say simpler. I can be simple or creative. This one's a little tricky. So I'm seeing some divide here. I see notes, app, to-do list, planner, my agenda, paper, my ideas, tablet, planner, journal, reminder, to-do reminder. All right, I am going to move on. Lock in your responses. You can't change when we go over the answers. You have to referee yourselves. All right, what am I, number 4? This is our final one. I can be a tool on a phone. I'm used in a kitchen. I am used in a classroom. I can help you keep track of time, and I've been around for a long time. I see clock, alarm, timer. I'm getting a lot of them. Calendar, digital clock, clock, alarm, timer, clock, phone, Alexa. All right, I'm going to give you all a few more seconds and then we will get the answers. I saw a spatula. All right. All right, looks like we're all locked in. Now we're going to go back and review the responses. Number 1, I can be found on an Android or iPhone. I've been around for a long time. You can input upcoming dates. I have many different forms and features. This one, yes, I think all of you guys got this one right. It was calendar. So if you have it, that's 100 points. Calendar. All right, I see y'all celebrating, so I'm thinking I didn't see anyone else say anything different. But if you said anything like Google Calendar or your phone calendar, it's just basically any calendar, even a planner. All right. Number 2, allow you to access your documents virtually anywhere. You can be used to keep your school assignments secure. I can be used to share documents. I can create private links and access. Drum roll, please. If you said Google Drive, you were correct. But if you said any type of like cloud, that's correct as well. But you get extra points if you said any cloud. So give yourself an extra 100 if you said more than just Google Drive. All right, see a lot of people celebrating in here. See one person, Eric with the 300, Raphael with the 300. That's how it needs to be. I love it. If you're at 200, you're doing really good so far. Minus 200, Zion, I see this, but it's okay. You still have a chance. You still have a chance. Not sure how we got to 400, but I guess we're gonna keep going. I thought we were at 300. We need to referee ourselves here. We're getting points that I don't know where they came from. All right, question number 3. Cool points. All right, I've been around for a long time. I can be written on paper or created electronically. I make remembering things a lot easier. I can be simple or creative. This one was a little tricky. And I did say extra points if you got the other one right, but you can't have more than 300 points because there's only an extra 100 points. But this one is, if you said to-do list, that is correct. It is a to-do list. So right now you should either be at 300 or 400. It's to-do list. I know, I get the debate on this one. Sometimes everyone will get this one right, and then other times everyone's like, I don't see it. So that's why I haven't changed it yet. Aw, I'm sorry, but it's to-do list. I'm not gonna change this one. Notes. See, I've been asked that question several times. Will notes count? The only reason I'm saying notes doesn't count is because you can write anything on notes. So I don't know. The ref is still out on that one. You guys are gonna have to wait till they come back. All right, question number 4, and our final one. This is your last chance to redeem yourselves here. It says, I can be a tool on a phone. I'm used in a kitchen, used in a classroom. I can help you keep track of time. I've been around for a long time. I put a lot of time in there to give you a hint. If you said timer, you were correct. Yes, I'll even take an alarm clock or some type of clock, but not really just a clock, but it has to be like if you're referring to some kind of timer. Because on your Fitbit, you have a timer. On your Apple Watch, you do have a timer because I didn't see those answers. But you had to have been trying to figure out if it was like a type of timer. So, you guys tally up your points. Do we have anybody that got a 400? Am I looking at 500 here? 500. That means you got them all right plus the bonus. All right, I see you guys. Great job, everyone. I'm loving the points. I saw 1,500, but I don't know where that came from. 1,500 points. You all just making up your own points. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not, I never said this was extra credit. These are bragging points. They're bragging rights. They're all, yes, you all are overachievers and I love it. There's nothing wrong with being a little competitive. I wish I could add those points to an assignment, but I can't. I just can't do that. But you all are getting credit for being here and participating tonight. And you get a virtual pat on the back from me and all the excitement from all of your instructors. They now know that you know all these time management tools. So let us move on with our procrastination kitty. This is the procrastination cat. Sometimes I think we can all feel this way. Sometimes we all feel like we want to kind of put things off. We don't feel like doing anything. And you kind of find the task, or you could procrastinate because you just find the task too difficult or overwhelming. So, if you're one of those people who are like, sometimes it's hard for me to kind of, get back on track. We're going to discuss some of those tools to see if, some things will kind of help you out with that. I think we all have a bit of procrastination in us sometimes. If we're super stressed, sometimes we just, we're just human. We like to put things off. Sometimes, some people more than others, and it's a habit that we kind of want to work on. So if it is a bad habit for you, or it's one of those things that you need to work on, you just need to spend more attention on it. All right, I'm going to talk to you all about different time management tools that's going to help with procrastination. I like to call it like basically your secret to ending procrastination. A powerful tool to help you end procrastination is to make things easier. And one of the tools that helps us make, or techniques that helps us make things easier, is called the Pomodoro technique. We're gonna watch a really short video on the Pomodoro technique, and then afterwards I'll talk to you all about the benefits of using this technique and why it can help you with procrastination.
We procrastinate because we believe that a project or task is too big to finish. But when you break that huge task into 25-minute segments, it becomes easily achievable. The Pomodoro technique was developed by Francesco Cirillo in 1980s. If you don't know, Pomodoro is Italian for tomato. Cirillo used a kitchen timer shaped like a tomato as his personal timer when he was a university student, and thus the method's name. The technique can help you power through distractions and get things done while taking frequent breaks. Best of all, it's probably one of the simplest productivity methods to implement since all you need is a timer. Here's how to get started with Pomodoro. Number 1. Choose a task to be accomplished. Number 2. Set the timer to 25 minutes and work until the timer rings. Number 3. Take a 5-minute break and restart the task. Number 4. Take a longer break every 4 Pomodoro sessions. Simple, right? Let's break it down a bit further. When choosing the task you want to accomplish, make sure it's just one task. If you want to study, don't check your phone or browse Facebook at the same time. You don't want to decrease your productivity by working on 5 things at once. I've already discussed how multitasking is ineffective in another video. Do what you can to minimize interruptions and make sure that everything you don't need is put away before you begin. Shut your office door, turn off your phone, and close all unnecessary websites. Also, prepare everything you need for the task at hand, as it will mess with your focus if you run around looking for things that you might need. Like a cooking chef, get all your ingredients ready. Another thing you would want to have at hand is a notepad and a pen. When you're working, your mind might wander off a bit. It's not uncommon to suddenly remember that you need to take out the trash, call your friend before lunch, etc. Don't allow yourself to become distracted if ideas or thoughts about other things pop into your head. Write them down on your notepad and set them aside for later. For now, focus on your set task. Got everything ready? Great, time to start the timer. You don't actually need to go out and buy a special tomato-shaped kitchen timer. The countdown app built into your smartphone will do. When setting a time, it doesn't have to be exactly 25 minutes either. The creator of the technique used it for 25, but for you it might be more productive if you set the timer for 20 or maybe 30 minutes. I highly recommend you experiment with session lengths and find what works best for you. After all, the technique is not set in stone and should be customized to your length of focus before you need a break. For me, the Pomodoro technique is just a way of breaking that mental resistance we often have before starting something. That's why I use it to get the wheel rolling. It's hard for me to get started, but I find it super easy to keep on going. For that reason, I'll often find myself still hammering away at a task after the timer already buzzed. When I start losing focus, that's when I'll take a break. Each focus session is one Pomodoro. When you complete one session, you take a 5-minute break before starting a new one. However, this may not suit everyone. Some people might find regular short breaks too distracting, especially if they come at times when inspiration is flowing. Like I said, I often just continue my session without stopping. What you do during the break is also completely up to you. Get a glass of water to stay hydrated, go to the bathroom if you need to, or do something from your to-do list. Personally, I always stretch because the stiffness from sitting in a chair starts killing me otherwise. When the break is over, reset your timer for the next session and continue your work. When you've completed 4 Pomodoro sessions, take a 20 to 30-minute break. Use it to have lunch, go for a walk, or read a book. Anything works as long as it takes you away from your desk for a while and clears your mind of what you were doing before. The goal of Pomodoro technique is to help you to get into the zone and focus, but it's also to remind you to come up for air. It can also help you find your sweet spot, since tracking your completed Pomodoros can help you understand how you're spending your time. You can pinpoint the times during the day when you are most likely to focus properly and times when you struggle to get things done. That way you can adjust the way you work. And I'll be honest, I rarely complete all 4 Pomodoro sessions. Since I usually keep on going after the timer rings, my one session is usually way longer than 25 minutes and there is no need to do multiple sessions. Also, sometimes I'm just having a bad day or I'm feeling lazy and I'll only complete one 25-minute session and call it a day. To me, maintaining the habit is more important than the length of time spent on the task. Even if I only did one 25-minute session, I still accomplished something that day and didn't break my habit. Alright, now that I've covered everything, I highly suggest you try out the Pomodoro technique yourself. It has been my go-to strategy when I need to get something done.
All right. So, we learned a little bit about the Pomodoro technique. Here's just a quick snippet of the technique. Basically, you're selecting the task. You're going to set your timer to 25 minutes. I put this in parentheses because we have to understand that, you know, one size doesn't fit all. Everybody can't sit down for the same amount of time and remain focused. And some people could sit for longer periods of time and still be focused. So the 25 minutes, you all need to kind of tweak that to work and to fit your time. If you're going to start off with just 10 minutes, try to build your stamina. If you start with 10 minutes, next time try 12 minutes and then move on to 15 minutes, and eventually you can get to that 25 minutes if you find that you're a person that doesn't stay focused long enough. But creating the habit will actually help you do that. If you know that you can work a lot longer than 25 minutes, some people can go an hour or 2 hours before they need a break. You just have to find that comfortable spot where you can actually, be productive. And that's the whole point of this technique. So you're going to set the timer, you're going to work on the task, and at the end of the timer, you can check off the items. It gives you a sense of gratification for you to kind of just check off an item once you get it done. Once you have 4 check marks, then you get to take a short break, and then you go back to step 2 where you reset the timer for the 25 minutes or a different one. After you finish 4 pomodoros, then you take a longer break, which is 15 30 minutes. Excuse me. And then you want to reset your check marks, count to 0, go back to 0, and then you would start all over, and start from step 1. So let me see. I'm going to show you guys a couple of apps that already have, like, they kind of use the Pomodoro technique and built into the apps. That is Focus Booster and Focus Keeper. I'm not sure if I don't, on here it says that Focus Booster is available on the iStore. I couldn't personally find it, but I can find it on my computer, and I've used it on the computer. But I use Focus Keeper on my iPhone, and that works well. So if you have an Android or an iPhone, you should be able to use one of these 2 apps if you decide you want to use this technique, or if you just want to use the timer on your phone, you can do that as well. But this one will kind of track how much you get done throughout the month, so you can kind of see your trend. That's why I like using the app. But if you don't want to use the app, you can always still try the technique out with just a timer on your phone or on your computer, or just a regular timer. So just kind of think about that when you're going through and deciding if you want to use this technique or not. If you are one of those people who are struggling with procrastination or just staying focused and getting your tasks done, I always say it's great to at least try. It's a technique. You don't have to do it, but you can try it. If it works for you, great. You found a tool that's gonna, that you're gonna be able to utilize. But if it doesn't work for you, give me feedback. Let me know, hey, this works great, or hey, this doesn't work. And we can kind of try some different tools. We're going to discuss a couple of other tools that you might want to try. But this one right here is a really good one that I know a lot of students, a lot of your instructors use, just a lot of people in general. So it's really popular. So it doesn't hurt to give it a try. All right, moving on to life's distractions. So, with distractions, I want you to kind of think of, when we say distractions, what are the things that are kind of keeping you from getting your things done? People, that can be a distraction. Your phone, obviously, our phones, they go off like crazy. Your body. And what I mean by your body is, just taking care of your basic needs. If your basic needs are not met, then it's going to be really, really difficult for you to, handle what it is that you need to handle. Your environment, and that has to do with where you are, if if it's loud, if it's noisy, if there's a lot going on, sometimes that can be very distracting. So kind of addressing the things around you before you start working, that will help you with distractions. People, if it's your friends or if it's the kids, or if it's your family, then you have to make sure you get a quiet space for you to be able to do that. Sometimes people who have younger kids, a lot of parents tend to wait until their kids are either at school or either when they're sleeping, taking a nap, or they're just down for the night. So those are just a couple of strategies you all can kind of use when it comes to that. And then your phone, if you guys kind of remember from the video, they were saying that you can take your phone and kind of put it on silent or flip it over so you're not seeing the notifications while you're trying to get something done. So for that 25-minute period, try flipping your phone over, or maybe, going somewhere where you're not going to have as many distractions. Make sure all your needs are met before you start working and you're in a good environment. All right, this is the urgency matrix. This one is basically to kind of what we were talking about, the way you use your time, balancing your time. This is basically a way for us to kind of map out what is considered urgent, non-urgent, important, and not important. Crises are considered important and urgent. Goals and plannings fall under important but not as urgent. And then interruptions and distractions are the ones that are like not important or urgent. And then the other one is not important and non-urgent. And you have to understand there's human elements to everything. So these are interchangeable. One thing that might not be important to you can be important to someone else. So it's not meant or designed to be that way. But what it is designed for is for you all to kind of consider some of the things that are distracting you. Is it really going to help you in the long run? In that moment, is it going to help you get to your long-term goal? Those are the things that you really want to focus on. So if something falls under goals and planning, then that's something that you're going to want to work on. But if it's under a crisis, that's something you want to work on immediately. So just know the difference between something that needs to be worked on immediately and something that's important, but it's not urgent. For example, think of someone who's building a brand or creating a business. Obviously that's very important to them. And, one day it's going to be their livelihood. So they want to make sure they get all of those things associated with that done. But, right now, whatever it is that they have due, they're going to work on that secondly. They're not going to work on that first. Whatever is due immediately, you work on that, and then you work on the second part. Oh, I feel like I have something in my throat. Excuse me. All right. Now we're going to go on and talk about the 80-20 rule. A lot of you all might have heard about the 80-20 rule. It's commonly used in the business and industry professionals, where it basically talks about 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. Now, I want you to think about that. What they're saying is only 20% of your actual efforts in the day are going to account for 80% of the results that you want in your whole life. So if only 20% of that effort is going into like the major 80% of your life, you want to make sure that is actual quality time. You want to make sure that that time that you are using it wisely. You are prioritizing and you're getting the things done that need to be done. So that top 20% of the things that you need to get done, you need to make sure you're, bringing all of your focus, all of your attention to that top 20%. So create a list, get a sheet of paper, write down all of your goals and all the things that you want to get done. And you want to make sure that the top 20% of those things that is on that list, those are your main focus. Those have to be very important things, and you focus this. All right, we're going to watch our 80-20 rule. This one's actually a lot shorter than our other one.
So in 1906, Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto found that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the population. Now, this 80-20 distribution became quite famous for occurring over and over again in many scenarios. For example, about 20% of the world's population control about 80% of the world's income. You wear about 20% of the clothes in your wardrobe about 80% of the time. About 20% of a business's customers account for 80% of their complaints. This is known as the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. Now, as a note, this shouldn't be taken as some sort of universal law that occurs in all situations. Exceptions can be made, and one should always be critical. But that being said, it's an extremely effective tool to analyze your own life and be more productive. Let's look at an example. Imagine you have a daily to-do list with 10 things to do every day. Using the Pareto principle, you want to figure out what are the 2 most important things that will give you the majority of your results. And once you figure this out, you want to spend 80% of your effort on these 2 things and the rest on the remaining 8 things to do. This means that even if you don't manage to complete most of the things you wanted to do, you at least get the important things out of the way. The concept is very simple, but the ways you can apply it are endless. The point here isn't the numbers, but rather to simplify your life and focus on what truly matters. Know someone who needs to improve their productivity? Share this with them and give us some love by hitting that like button. And if you want to see more, just subscribe.
All right, that was basically our 80-20 rule. You all have, basically, I told you this technique basically is just using a list and using the top 20% of that list to focus most of your time. That's what you would do for this one. All right, moving on. All right, this one was that urgency matrix that we talked about before. This is just an example of how you would use the urgency matrix. Here you have 4 items, and this goes back to like the top things that you would list that are, high priority for you. And they are, on a Tuesday night, you might have, to network or promote your brand. You have a week 3 post. Maybe you're moving, so you need to pack some boxes, and you're reading a really good book and you want to finish that book. So if you all look at the matrix, and based off of what we've just saw, let me know which one goes into each box. So for number 1, if you think is network or promote brand, you would write number 1, network, and then you'll write number 2, number 3, and number 4. All right, I'm seeing number 1. A lot of people are going with the week 3 post. All right. So if everybody who thinks that, so just write, what do you think number 1 would be? So number 1 is high importance and high urgency. All right, I'm getting a lot of week 3 posts, and I'm getting a couple of different answers. And then finally, I want you all to give me your response for number 4. We're only going to do number 1 and number 4. So what do you think number 4 is? I see finished book, week 3 post, pack boxes, pack boxes. All right, remember we're moving at the end of the month, if I didn't say that, but you are moving, so you do need to pack boxes. Finished book, week 3 post. All right, so number 4 is low importance and low urgency. All right, we're going to go ahead and get our responses. Number 1 was the week 3 post. Number 2 was network and promoting the brand. Number 3 was packing the boxes. And number 4 was finishing the book. Excellent. I'm glad you guys got those in 1,000 points. Just add them up. Add them to your points from before. If you got everything right, I guess you're at 1,000. Oh, 4,000 points. Okay. I see you all. 1,400. We're making up our points again, but that's fine. All right. Excellent. And sometimes, it seems so obvious. A lot of people think that prioritizing is like one of the most obvious things. And for some people, it's not. It's not always so obvious to prioritize. Sometimes you have a lot of things that are going on that are equally as important, and it's hard for you to balance that out. So sometimes writing things down on paper really does help. If you're one of those people who are super busy and you have a lot going on and you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, instead of getting overwhelmed and thinking there's just not enough time in the day, write it down and try to reason with yourself. Okay, I can get this done at a later date, but this is due today. Those are the types of things that matrices like this really help with. If you're one of those people who have multiple deadlines and you just need to basically you need to talk it out with yourself, without really talking to yourself, you can write it down and do that. So it's really important for those of you that are struggling with managing your time based on having so much responsibility to carry. All right, now we're going to go into our week 3 project, the highlights. So we are going to get through this and then we will be almost done for the night. All right, after reviewing the materials, remember to hit mark completed. I had a couple of students, which is okay if you all just forget. I just want you to make sure this is why you're seeing that 0. If you're reading through the workbook and you're going through the assignments, but you're not hitting mark as completed before that Sunday deadline, you will see that 0 pop up. And the reason you're seeing that 0 is because we're not selecting mark completed. And then also, if you are attending live sessions, make sure you go in and you just write attended and you submit that into the comment box under, for this week, it'd be 3.1. So if you attended, you can simply do that. We do take attendance, so if you forgot at one point, we could go in and check, but it's always better to kind of double check. So there's nothing wrong with that. So should we make sure that we have all check marks for the week? Yes, you do want to make sure you have check marks because then you've turned in everything. So at the end of the week, if you're missing something, then you kind of want to go back and double check. It says if you go now, well, yes, you will still be. Technically, the discussion isn't due until Friday. That's for the people who could not attend and you're watching at home and then you're answering the questions. So if you did attend and you didn't do it tonight, you do it tomorrow or Thursday, that's fine. And you will always get credit for coming. So just want to let you know, it just makes it easier on your instructors and you will see that check mark and you won't get that 0 at the end of the week that populates. So it just helps. All right, now we're going to start talking about the project. For the project this week, we are going to be doing a time management project. And the first part of the project is a fixed commitment calendar. The fixed commitment calendar, if you guys see that where it says project 2, calendar template, there's a calendar template on the actual when you go on to, the section 3.5, when you're completing your project, you're going to see the template there. And you will also see a template in your workbook. So you'll see the fixed commitment calendar in two places. An example of it can be found in the workbook. This is the example. You're going to want to make sure you fill it all the way out, and all the way at the bottom, that's where you're going to total your available hours. Make sure you do that, because that's the whole point of you completing the calendar, is to see how many total available hours you have left. So make sure you all complete, the whole calendar. It is a PDF fillable, so you want to make sure you download it and you save it. So if you make sure you download and you save the PDF, then you should be fine. If you want to create your own calendar because you're going to use this in the future, that is fine. Just make sure you have all the information that's on the calendar that is being requested of you. So it's fine if you create your own calendar. If you want to use the PDF fillable version, then that's perfectly fine as well. Yes, a few of us, yes, a few jobs and schools have been shut down. So, you all can fill your days by completing all your assignments ahead of time and getting it done early. And, you can kind of focus on school to kind of get your mind off of some of the things that are going on right now. And yes, I do hope everyone is safe as well, because that's the most important part. So staying indoors and, really focusing on, protecting yourself and your loved ones and all of that stuff. All right, we're going to move on to the next part of the project. Here you're going to, for part 2, you're going to pick 3 that you can apply to your life. And here's the list. You have time management concepts, and they include the fixed commitment calendar. That was the one we just reviewed. And the rest of them can be found in the workbook. How much time, 8 tips for time management, why we procrastinate, the 6-step anti-procrastination plan, procrastination styles, and organizing your days. So you're going to select 3 of these concepts, and then you're going to do 2 paragraphs per concept. So make sure you remember that. It's going to give you a total of 6 paragraphs. And then finally, you're going to do a to-do list for part 3. The to-do list, you're going to put them in order by level, by priority. So you're going to number each one, and you're going to have study and personal goals for that day. So you're going to have study and personal goals, and you're going to number each one by the number of importance, or you're going to prioritize them. So we talked a lot about prioritizing today and writing things down that you need to get done. So make sure you all remember to do that in the to-do list so you won't lose any points there. Okay, I'm going to leave you all with a little nugget for the day. It is time management is really life management and personal management. So take control of your next parts, or take control on the next parts. So I did a little nugget for the day. It's like a golden nugget, like just something to remind for you to for you to remember. So if you all have any questions, I am going to stick around and answer those questions. But if you do not have any questions, please be safe. Work on your assignments. Let your instructors know if you have any questions or if you have any concerns. And you are free to go for the night. Thank you so much for joining me. You all were wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. So again, I will stick around. If you have any questions, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. If you want me to open the mic so you can ask your question, I'll be more than willing to do that. Or you can simply put your question, specifically. Yes, the mic, you can ask your question over the microphone. I can unmute you. So if you want to ask your question over the microphone. run. Yeah, as much as I love to hear myself speak, it's okay for me to hear you all every now and again as well. So if you have a question that you would rather ask out loud, you all have that opportunity to do that as well. So if you want me to, was that Kenyatta? Let me see. If you want me to open the mic, just let me know. And yes, I can provide examples of the project and the announcement. Good night, everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. See, this is why I didn't even want to try. Do you want me to open the mic? Then you can tell me the proper way to pronounce your name. Okay, I'm going to unmute you right now. And for those of you all that are watching at home, I am going to stop the recording.